Hey, welcome back to the channel. So if you do any kind of work on your bike, especially if you have an older bike or a medium to lower end bike, you probably know that in order to adjust some of the parts, you're going to need a cone wrench. So the cone wrench will come in handy for adjusting certain headsets, hubs, and even some bottom brackets. So in other words, anything that has bearings, either loose bearings or cage bearings. Now, most modern higher end bikes will have cartridge bearings and you would not have a need for a cone wrench. This is an example. So in this case, there's no adjusting. It just has a cap that pulls out. There's your bearing. The edge of the cap rides along the inner edge of the bearing so that when you tighten the hub on the frame, there's no adjustment necessary. It's just gonna turn. Now, hubs that use either caged or loose bearings will have something more like this. So here you have a cone that'll go against the bearing. The cone is adjustable, it threads in, and then you have an outer lock nut that will keep that cone adjusted and in place, keep it from moving. Now, as I'm doing the video, I just noticed I have a cut on my finger, probably when opening this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean that and continue on. All right, now that's more like it. No blood in the video. So I've seen a lot of people buy these. I'm going to take this out of the little plastic. I think that's what cut my finger. And this was $21 on Amazon. There's the 6-inch version. There's a 4-inch, but the opening is, I think, about ½ an inch. You can only span it about ½ an inch, which is not much. This one opens to 0.938 inches. Or 23.8 millimeters. So that's pretty darn wide. That's bigger than any cone wrench I have. It is thin. Now some people will just make one and they'll just grind this themselves and just make one. It is made in Spain. The construction's really nice. You can see it's really well made. And it should take the place of all these. Now a good set of cones will cost anywhere from $20, $25 to $30. So for the price of this, you can get a good set of cones, but you will probably not have every single size cone wrench you need. This is a very old part tool. They don't make them like this anymore. The new models are a little different. This when they were still made in the USA. This thing cost about $15 each. The bike hand version, which is not nearly as nice, costs $9 each. At least that's what I found looking around. So a nice set of these will cost you about $90. If you go for the simpler version of the part tool, it's about $35. This is part of a $90 kit. So this set has a 13-14, a 15-16, and a 17-18, so there's no 19. Now you might think you don't need anything like that, but yeah, I just happen to have a hub that is a non-boost through axle, early 2000s hub, and this actually has loose bearings inside, therefore it does have a cone, and this cone is a very strange size. It's 23. So I don't have a 23 and I have a lot of tools. So I had never taken this apart. That fits right in there. So that'll open up past 23 inches. I actually have to close it. Now, one problem I found, and I already tried this on this hub. Like I said, I had never taken this apart and I did for the first time. And I was able to do it with this wrench because the top, you can use a conventional wrench on top. This is a 22, but it doesn't fit. I don't have a 23-inch open end. So what I did was I used another adjustable wrench. So what I found is this works for most situations. The problem is the step off. So when I put this in here, the wider part actually blocks my access to this. Now you can, what I did is I slid it out about 3/4 of the way and And then if I slide that out, it's still holding, and I am able to grab it. And now I have both tools, and I can actually take that apart. I can take that off, take this apart, clean it, and re-grease it. Now, in a situation, usually there's a spacer. Here you have the lock nut directly on the cone. You might have trouble. Once you slide that in, that thick part is gonna prevent you from using the box end of it. So that's a drawback there. Now I can just kind of slide it back and use the open end, and it'll work just as well. Okay, and same thing to tighten, just do the opposite. Now if you use a cone wrench, and I think we said there's a 15, then the whole thing is flat, and you can use both. So let's grab a wheel. Here we have a regular old 26-inch mountain bike wheel from the 90s. So again, cones are going to be used for lower end hubs or older hubs if you work on BMX bikes, if you like to restore bikes. So again, here it doesn't matter what size that is, and I think that's a 15 also. I can come in here, yeah, and once I adjust my cone, then I can come and tighten the lock nut here. So it works great. Let's actually do the opposite and undo it, because it's tight right now. Of course, it's really tight, so I'm gonna, maybe there's gonna be more blood. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm sitting down behind the camera, so let me stand up. And so one trick I've found in the past is that if you line these up like this, you can actually just do this. And there it goes. And loosen that by just squeezing them together. And there we go. That was tight. And not bust your knuckles. So there you go. And then if you're gonna tighten it, now you wanna hold that axle still too. So, you know, I'm doing this kind of for the camera. I probably have this on a little vise. And tighten, I'm holding my cone here and tightening. And again, that has to be snug. You don't have to really put a lot of torque, because once this wheel goes in and you tighten it, that's not going anywhere. So that worked fine. So yeah, so I would say that this, if you don't want to buy a whole set, the advantages to this is you reduce clutter if you're not going to be working on all kinds of bikes all the time. And you can use this for other things, because it's designed for like pipe fittings and all kinds of other things that you might need a thin spanner around the house. So one tool that you can use on your car, on the house, around the house as a handyman, and on your bike. And it'll cover all of these with that little drawback. As I said, it opens up to 23.8 millimeters. And of course it closes to 0. Well built. The width of these is about it's less than 3 millimeters, about 2.6 millimeters. And I think it's going to make a nice addition to my toolbox. So I'll hang it there on my pegboard with my other tools. I hope this helps if you were considering buying one of these and you wanted to see what they were like. So give it a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.